Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here. Now I'm still getting caught up on some Final Fantasy XIV news since I was away in London for this past week. That being said, I already covered the 6.4 promotional site, so now I want to take a look at the Crystalline Conflict Regional Championships that they're going to be doing across the world over the next several months, likely leading up into 2024 and JP FanFest. Now, before we actually look at the North American site, which we have it here in front of us, we do actually have the announcement over on the Lodestone that they will be holding tournaments not just in North America, but also in Japan, as well as Europe and Oceania. Now, very specifically, Europe and Oceania are kind of grouped up there. So I'm curious how they're going to go about doing that particular section of the tournament. It's probably going to look at least a little bit different than what we're going to look at today for the North American ones. But either way, they're going to be holding these tournaments. And that's really important because Crystalline Conflict, I think, is a great PvP mode for Final Fantasy XIV to have, although its reception post-launch, as it's continued to release and rebalance, has been a bit of a mixed bag. The reward structure hasn't really been working out or motivating people to compete frequently enough in the regular seasons, and so I think it needs a little bit of this life granted to it. So let's look at all the details. I haven't looked over them just yet. I only saw the announcement tweet and then now these pages. But here we go, the North American Regional Championship website. So the preliminaries will be on June 3rd, 4th, 10th, and 11th. I hope when I scroll down, it says they're streaming that, and I hope it allows co-streaming. I may not be able to commit wholly to all of those days. I'm not sure yet, but if I can, I would love to do a co-stream of these things and watch this with the community. And they have done that for previous PvP stuff that they've officially done on the Square Enix channel. So hopefully there's something about streaming it later on in this website. Quarterfinals, June 17th and 18th, something that tied us over until Final Fantasy 16 hits a couple of days after that, or a few days after that. And finally, the semifinals and finals for North America will be July 29th in Las Vegas. Hopefully, again, also streamed and allows co-stream since I'll be home for FanFest. Anyway, let's look over the tournament overview. It's a series of official tournaments. This is the same thing that was said in the official post, so we don't need to read that again. What is Crystalline Conflict? If you're unfamiliar, we're not going to go over that here. We're really just looking at the tournament details and whatnot. So here we go. Quarterfinals online and live stream. Now again, I guess I need to look to see if it has any co-streaming rules. Hopefully they allow it, because again, I would love to watch this and commentate on it with the community. So for the preliminaries, there's several different brackets. Looks like 8 different brackets of 3 to 4 teams each. They'll be playing best of 3 in a round robin format, and that's going to decide some of the teams coming out of that. Then you'll have the winners, the winner and runner-up from, it looks like the winner and 2 runner-ups from each bracket. So it looks like if there's 3 to 4 teams. No. I got so confused. This is bracket A winner, bracket B runner up, bracket A. That confusing. Okay, so the top 2 teams from each of the preliminary rounds are going to play each other. And between brackets A and B, they'll play for an invitation to FanFest, and that'll be true for each kind of set of 2 brackets. A and B will play the winners and runners up, and then same deal for C and D, and then E and F, and then G and H. And the winner of those individual brackets will get invitations to FanFest to compete in the semifinals, and finals will be live streamed. That is the good news right there. Quarterfinals winners and all the quarterfinals winners will play against each other. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of draw for seeding about which team will play which team, and then the final champion at the end to be crowned at FanFest. I will say, even the old PvP modes that we had, when they held those tournaments at FanFest, I sat in the crowd. I loved watching it as someone who wasn't a big fan of actually playing it. So I can tell you that historically, the talent that they brought on to do these things, both the players as well as the casting talent and the production, have all been really good. So even if you're not a huge PvP fan, I do implore you to go out of your way to support all the teams as well as the broadcasters and the team at Square Enix for putting it together, because I do find it quite entertaining. It's been, 4 years now? I think it would have been 2019, the last one that we actually had live. So, really hoping that this one goes well. So we do have the rules here. Stage effects enabled, kits used, in-game macros usable, quick chat may be used. All 5 different players need to be different jobs during all rounds and matches. Team players may freely change jobs between rounds as long as they meet composition requirements after the swap. And teams may switch party members per match, but not per round. So yeah, once you commit to a team of 5, that is the team of 5 you will have until the next match. So that's something definitely to keep an eye out for. Wonder how the teams, I don't think I've seen anything about how many members are allowed on each team. So maybe it'll say something below right here. Preliminaries are scheduled to be held online. There we go. Participating teams will be divided into 8 brackets, round robin within each bracket. Number of participating teams will be determined by the total number of teams participating in the tournament. Winners for each match will be determined by best of 3. The top 2 teams from each bracket will proceed. Entrants must prepare all hardware themselves, and the arena for each round will be randomly chosen by the host from one of the following 4 arenas. Okay, so it's going to be randomly chosen. They're not going to allow people to select, at least for the preliminaries. For the quarterfinals, which will be June 17th and 18th, 2 brackets from preliminaries will be matched together. That's what we talked about earlier. The winners will be determined through best of 3. The winning team of each bracket proceeds to the semifinals. Entrants must prepare all hardware, and it will be chosen randomly. Again, I'm hoping for the semifinals and maybe the finals they allow the players. In person, they're probably going to just allow them. Let's just read it. Why am I even predicting it? It says it right here. Top 4 eligible teams will compete in an elimination style match. For the semifinals. The winners of each match will be determined by best of 3. All hardware will be provided by Square Enix. You'll be at a live event, so that's the go without saying. Team members may bring and use keyboards, mouse, left-handed gaming devices, and gamepads. However, macros from gaming software and hardware are prohibited. Yeah, that's got to be a thing. The arena will be randomly chosen. All right, still randomly chosen by the host. All right. And the finals themselves, finals are scheduled to be held on stage and will be live streamed Saturday, July 29th. Held on stage, yeah. All of this is being held on January 29th. Top 2 teams from the semifinals will take part in a best of 5. All gaming hardware will be provided. They may bring their own. The arena of the first 4 rounds will be randomly chosen by the host from one of the 4. The 5th round, if needed, will be held in the Palastras. Yeah, so I'm surprised they're not doing anything with selecting the arenas that you want. I know that a team selecting an arena and then selecting a composition around the arena they chose is a potential thing, but I don't know. I guess they just don't want to take the chance with, I guess, unfair advantages that could happen, or teams specifically picking maps that have. I don't know. I really do think they should have somewhat of a different rule, but the only one possible time someone gets to pick a map is if it's the very last game in the entire tournament, if it actually goes all the way to 5 games. So, I don't know. That's a little weird to me. Times may vary. Tournament schedule subject to change without notice. In the case of a tie, a round which enters overtime does not have a winner at the conclusion of the round will be considered a tie. I've very rarely seen ties, but they do happen. If during the round robin, the participating teams win the same number of matches, the winning team will be determined based on the following criteria: the highest total progress record across their winning matches, shortest total match time. Very normal way of doing that, so glad to see it. Quarterfinals, a single match will be held between the tied teams to break the tie. Perfectly reasonable. Same deal with the semifinals, and a single round match will be held. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just the same rules for all of that. And that's actually the bottom. So no mention about co-streaming or anything like that at the moment. But I guess we'll get that information later. Now, as for the entry, the eligibility, 18 years or older, reside within the United States, Mexico, or Canada. This is what I'm specifically curious about for the EU and Oceania one. Obviously, there's quite a few countries in the Oceanic region, so I'm curious how they're going to go about doing that. Must be able to communicate in English, must have a North American Square Enix account and active subscription, must have a playable character in North America that can participate in Crystalline conflict, must be able to communicate using Discord, must be able to attend the following days. Nice. Regarding invitations, round-trip air transportation and standard hotel accommodations for 4 nights, as well as tickets will be provided to each team qualifying for the semifinals. Meals, ground transportation, and other expenses are the sole responsibility of the team members. Okay. Team members will be required to execute and return a declaration of eligibility, liability, and unless prohibited, publicity release. Yeah, you're going to be live streamed, so you have to be willing to sign that. Team members must verify their name and address matches the information contained in their Square Enix account. An original form of identification, such as driver's license, passport, or student ID, will be required. Copies of identifications will not be eligible. Team members should verify the address associated with their Square Enix account is current and accurate. That's a good idea, because a lot of times people move and stuff, and they don't. They don't make sure of that. Up to 32 teams. If more than 32 teams, the tournament sponsor will use the following methodology to select them. Result of their previous... Oh, interesting. So if teams that sign up are really low in their previous Crystalline Conflict season status, then they may just disqualify them if there's too many people. Accuracy of the information registered on the account, I think that's fair. And in-game play status. Okay, yeah, so they're just going to look at how much you actually play Crystalline Conflict and how good your team actually is. A team is disqualified during or outside the preliminaries. The next eligible team will be selected to proceed. Okay. During or outside of all of that. Any equipment and or network-related issues will be the responsibility of the player. Ooh, you better pick your team members carefully. If you got that one team member who disconnects a lot, yikes. But, dude, it's going to suck if somebody just happens to have bad internet on a select day. Like, on the day and only that day. It would be awful. If any prohibited activities or violation of the regulation is confirmed, the team will be disqualified. An account penalty may also be issued. If at any point, for any reason, the opponent team is unable to participate in a match, the match is won without playing. Situation where a match cannot advance due to issues such as a server outage, then the match will be null and the rematch will be held. Yeah, that's fair. If Final Fantasy 14 itself is not working, it would be silly to even think of trying to come up with a way of declaring the winner. Entrants during the semifinals and finals, entrants may not wear clothing with visible logos or trademarks or any sponsored clothing. Yeah, because the tournament itself has its own sponsors, they have to make sure that you're not I guess, does it say who the sponsors are yet? Is that like a thing? Participating teams, prizing, streaming. Maybe it says down here. No, I don't see anything down here. Well, whatever the sponsors is, it'd be like if Steel Series was sponsoring them and you wore like a Logitech shirt. Like that they wouldn't accept that. You know, that's just a normal thing when it comes to a competition like this that's being entirely hosted by somebody else with an actual, conflicting sponsor. So what else do we have here? Once the team registration is submitted, there's no way to add new members. You may not replace any team members with someone who hasn't been registered. You may only participate in a single team, and teams can be formed 5 members. Teams may switch up to 2, so you can have up to 7 people, by the way. That's another important detail there. And teams can be formed across logical data centers if it meets the eligibility requirements. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. If you all play on North America, but some on Ether and Primal, it makes sense that as long as you can actually meet the eligibility requirement, that you're fine, I suppose. Actions that go against good sportsmanship. Okay, yeah, and then this is all just like regular competitive stuff. Don't break terms of service. Don't be a jerk. Don't deliberately grief or cause delays. Don't use somebody else's Square Enix account. Like this is all normal stuff. This shouldn't need explaining, all of these rules. Let's see. Team registration, team name, motto, character names, each team member's homeworld, each team member's character profile URL, one in-game screenshot of the team, and then the team registration link. And finally, the grand prize, or the prizing as a whole. Grand prize winner will receive $22,500, a trophy, an in-game achievement, and an in-game title. So $22,500 if you go with the bare minimum of the 5 teams. You're looking at, just over... you're looking at $4.5 grand per person. But however, of course, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. So either way, let's just say it's probably about after taxes, like $3 to $3.5 grand per person. Not too bad. Plus the free trip to Vegas, plus the hotel and the basic accommodation. So pretty good. Not too shabby. Not quite Capcom's $1 million for SF6, but nobody expected that it would be. The top 4 teams will also be invited to Las Vegas. They just get the free trip, and they do get a top 4 achievement and title in-game. And the top 8 teams, they'll just get an in-game achievement and title. So at the very least, if you make it to those quarterfinals, you do get something out of all of this. Now, right now, because they're still in the registration phase, we don't have participating teams or streaming information just yet. But again, I am really glad to see Square Enix at least doing something with Crystalline Conflict right now. I have my own thoughts, like I said, about Conflict itself and things they need to do to incentivize more regular play of the content. But I'm really glad that we're going to get this, and I really hope people tune in for it, because in all honesty, the other tournaments have been an absolute blast. Little tough to keep up with, but fortunately, the casting talent that has been forming inside of Final Fantasy 14, that's been there for a long time and been adapting to Crystalline Conflict, have been doing a phenomenal job of keeping everyone up to speed with everything that is happening. My own personal tip, look at the health bars. Helps a lot. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more information about the upcoming patch 6.4 and FanFest related activities as they are posted on the Lodestone. With that, I will see all of you in the next video, and until then, take care.